Un amigo del
Un amigo del
programa.
programa, as I like to say, un amigo del programa. So we are looking forward to that tremendously. Already seeing some people tuning in. I'm going to be sure to send us any questions, comments that you have. We love reading all the great comments about our fantastic guests, so we will be sure to do that. And so we're looking forward to that. And you can send us, like I said,
Any thoughts, any ideas, any, like you said, questions. Those are great, yeah.
And then what else can they do, Xavier?
You can like, you can share, and if you want, you can even subscribe.
Exactly. Perfect. I mean, you're just nailing that now.
Am I not really? I mean,
you are just nailing that now.
And it comes so natural now.
Oh, it does. It does.
As soon as you tell me, it comes natural.
Exactly. Like, oh, I wonder what Xavier's going to say after Alex gives him the cue.
Well, I think I don't know if it was with you, I was with Michael, but I was saying that, because Jan, my wife, your mother, loves to watch like YouTubes of different things that she enjoys, right? Whether it be, embroidery or cooking or whatever it may be, right? And they're always there, and the guy's always saying, and you may want to subscribe. And they always have these little fingers pointing,
the little
right?
magic button.
But the funny thing is, when she watches it on YouTube in the living room, right? So in the family room. So there's really no button down there, right? And I guess in the computer there is,
then
right?
You could, yep.
But it's so funny because I always see them pointing down. So next time I'm gonna say, and if you want, you can subscribe. I'm gonna put it down.
Imagine Xavier's finger going like, don't press this imaginary button that none of us can see. But it's it's going to be a good one. We got a lot to look forward to today.
A lot going on. That's right.
It's a little bit of a cloudy day here in Charlottesville, but summer is definitely rapidly approaching.
Well, summer's here as far as weather is concerned.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing unofficial is the date.
Exactly. But it is definitely here. Yeah. Which as you know, I love. So I have no
Well, it's
problems.
an opportunity to get into your garden.
Well, not just that. I love the long days.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Xavier. We're very excited to have you joining us on a warm,
humid day.
Humid day here in Charlottesville, Virginia. It is Virginia weather, to be sure.
Absolutely.
But it's still a great day. It's a little cloudy, which means it's a great day to grab your café con leche.
That's
settle into a preferably air-conditioned location, and enjoy some Today y Mañana, because we have three fantastic guests that are going to be joining us later in the show. We're going to be joined shortly by Seth Buer. He's the founder of Precision Crafts. And then later in the show, welcoming back Amigo del Programa, Ricardo Cruz Duran from Total Mortgage, along with Megan Fincham from Total Mortgage. Two fantastic people that we're really excited to have on the show today.
This is going to be a great show. So remember to like and share, and you can even subscrib.
Exactly.
By the button on there.
Exactly. If there's a button,
there you are.
If there's a button there,
you
can subscribe. If there's a button, do it, because it is there.
I just had to do that once.
At least once. Of course, a couple of shout-outs. Thank you to our presenter, Emergent Financial Services, to our fantastic partners, Matias Young Realty, Charlottesville Opera, Credit Serious Insurance, Forward Adelante. And, of course, thank you to our viewers. Thanks to Alex Civil Network. Love being here.
Absolutely.
And having our fantastic guests. So how have you been? I know it's been a couple weeks since you and I were on.
That's right. No, I've been great. It's like I said, this is a time of year that I enjoy. The days are longer. The energy is higher. I seem to do more this time of year than any other time. So I'm having a lot of fun. I always love being here. With you, with Michael.
I love it.
With Nicholas, although I rarely do. I think.
Have you ever done a show? Maybe
I think I've done one. I think I've done one.
I was just gonna have to,
we're just gonna have
make
to
it
push
happen.
It. Yeah, we're
just gonna have to make it happen. Michael and I will both pull that thing.
Oh, we did the one with the director, remember, and
Oh,
Michael,
Charles Valapper one.
No,
Michael and Ben.
And Ben.
From the
And
Charles
then he
Symphony.
criticized because he said he never got any word in. He says he had all these questions. I said, yeah, but your questions are such that people would say, what is he asking?
Yeah, and it just didn't be like, what did
when
what
it
did you
comes
about
with
this
opera and things
composer
like that.
and this piece of music that
Exactly.
he did, and then he'll spoil the end of the opera and say, what do you think about the end when this happens? And it'd be like, oh, come on, you just spoiled it for like everybody. Sometimes it's best. It's the best.
There you go.
Exactly. Well, already got some fantastic people tuning in, which we appreciate. Maiden Smith, thanks for liking the show this morning. James Smith, thanks for liking the show this morning. Brenda Cruz Duran, muchísimas gracias for watching the show this morning. And Marta Duran, muchísimas gracias. So I think we got some fans. We got some fans tuning in.
We certainly do.
You know, I think, and I definitely probably some for Seth who's coming up, and some for Ricardo coming up. So I think everyone's excited for today's show as they should be.
Absolutely.
As
yes,
they should be.
yes.
So I don't know about you, but I'm ready to go ahead and jump
Yeah,
right on in.
I'm really interested because he's got even some samples here. So I'd love to hear
Yeah.
what he does, how he does it, and what got him into it.
Absolutely. So we are excited to welcome to the show this morning Seth Buer. He is the founder of Precision Craft. Seth, thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
No, we're glad to have you on. So for those who don't know you, haven't met you yet, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and how you first became interested in woodworking.
So my name is Seth Buer. I am the proud founder of Precision Crafts. I recently just graduated high school with high honors, summa cum laude, thank you, and down in Crozet, Virginia.
Nice.
So what I do is CNC routing, first off, stands for computer numerical control. And basically that means you design something on like an app like Carbide Create or like a website. Like you design stuff like this. Like this was the first thing that I've designed, which was my name on wood with like a V-groove, little thing. Yeah. It's like it kind of makes it a little bit 2D or 3D. So you design it on like Carbide Create, and then you go ahead and then send it to the router, and that's when you'll like actually program it to like actually print it out.
Right,
and it's actually one of the most satisfying things I've ever seen throughout my entire life. And like, I mean, even this is definitely one of my favorite pieces. This is like a vertical, house number, basically, where like it actually like engraves into the wood the numbers and like actually like the little squares and whatnot.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm very passionate about this. And then we also do, for my business, we also do a little bit of woodworking. Like I'll definitely make like hammers and stuff like that, and then like maybe footstools. And then we also do like coasters. Like you'd have like, you know, for instance, like coasters like on slate or pine, or like leather, like on like it could be a picture of your favorite like jet. It could be something that you admire really well, like maybe something in the music area or something just related to that. Like we can easily print it for you. And
that's fantastic. So you just go ahead.
No, go ahead. No,
So you design the object, like, so you talk about you can make the object, and then once the object is there, the toaster, the slab of wood for the name tag, or the stool, and so then you create the design, and then like a laser or something will then, for like what actually kind of makes
like
that
on the
those
leather.
grooves
How does
on
that
the
happen?
leather?
On the
So when I talk about coasters, we can do coasters on the CNC router. Like I've done a graduation coaster where it actually prints out, but it would basically be wood. But when we're talking about like leather and like others like slate and stuff like that, that would actually be on a laser engraver.
Okay.
Because I don't think the router,
Slate.
I don't think the router would would definitely not engrave through a slate, like a slate thing. It could break the piece, like the bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also do make like some custom like signs, like definitely like quote signs, like something like a quote that you really like from like a movie or like a TV show, or I did one from like Christmas Vacation like last December as like a little Christmas gift, and then it turned out really, really well. And then like every piece of wood is always sanded through, because we want to make sure that the product that I sell is not, is perfect. Like it's made with American pride. It's basically as smooth as a table. Like this is pretty much it's already done. This was made with like a coat of wood, and before that it was like made with like a whole like before it was like sanded. And so like we don't want people like opening the box and it's like, oh, like we don't, this is really sharp, I'm gonna return it. Yeah, it's not like it's it's not satisfying. Like we just want I want to make sure that every customer gets exactly what they want in the most precisional way. So
and the wood, it can be any particular wood, or is hardwoods better?
So
for most
it depending on the wood. So I mainly use recycled wood, and I actually and shout out to my engineering teacher, Mr. Matheny from Western Alamo High School. He gave me like a couple boxes of wood to like actually use because he knew that I was passionate about this. Right. Like he knew that I could get somewhere with this, and he actually like. He's like, here, take as many pieces of scrap wood as you can. And these, I think one of these, I can't remember which one of these are, but I think one of them are actually like kind of scrap or recycled material. And I think it's good for the environment if you think about it.
Right.
It's just, and it saves money.
Putting to work pieces of wood that might otherwise just be tossed.
Yeah, well, and then it's gonna go to like the dump or like the pile or something like. And for most part, I use like hardwood for the most part. That actually does work with my router that I actually bought on my own. And I definitely will use some other woods like pine maybe, but I would have to be like very careful because pine I think can be a little bit like kind of like loose. It's not as strong as hardwood. It's soft. Yeah, that's what it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and you got the resin on pine too. So
exactly.
I would assume that wouldn't be good on your router, right? If it's running through some resin.
Start just sticking a little. So how'd you decide? So you kind of fell in love with this project, this type of woodworking. How'd you decide to say, hey, you know what? Let me start something with this. Let me be entrepreneurial with this.
Like, what's my story?
Yeah.
So, I mean, when I was a senior, literally just a couple of days ago, because I just graduated. And my graduation was May 31st at Western Alamo High School.
So you started this company in the last 2 days?
No. I started.
That's really amazing.
No. I started this like way before. It was my senior, like literally the beginning of my senior year, pretty much. Like probably a month into my senior year of high school. Like I said, I recently graduated, like summa cum laude. I took a class known as Engineering 1. The teacher there was Mr. Matheny. Him and I got along really, really well. And basically, before I even took that class, I didn't like other classes I took, like Ceramics 1 and like a bunch of other of those classes related to that. Maybe like on the art style. It wasn't something that I wasn't passionate about any of that stuff. Yeah. Like. It was just like I just need to take this required to get my graduation credit, and so before my junior year ended, I was picking out my classes with my counselor, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna try one more elective class, see where it takes me, and that was Engineering 1, and so Engineering 1 basically meant it was like the beginning of like. Working into wood, laser engraving, a little bit of foundry, and definitely on the CNC routing part of that. And like I said, I met him on the first day of school. We got along really, really well. Yeah. And so one day, he signs. One day he brought one of his CNC routers into the classroom because he has a couple of them scattered around his wood shop, and basically. He showed us how to program, how to design your name on wood, which is like I've shown y'all. This piece. This is what I got help designing. That was like my first ever project on the CNC router, and so, so then he sent after he designed it, after he designed it on Carbide Crate, which is what I use to design my products. He sent it over to the CNC router. Basically, he used an app called Carbide Motion, which is an app that you use that actually sends in all the coding and data and whatnot to print out the design that you've uniquely designed. And so then a couple minutes later, after he was showing us how to line up the wood, make sure everything was on together, because we had to use double-sided tape to make sure that the wood wasn't flying off when it was being carved.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it makes sense. Or use little tighteners, or put screws through the wood. But double-sided tape's better. But as I was saying, he started printing it, and my mind just was oh my god, I have never I was just blown away. I was I cannot. This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
And you kind of knew then.
Yeah, like,
This is-
and I didn't like, and at the time, I just like, for the past couple of years, my parents and I were just like talking about college and just like, because I didn't know what I wanted to do at that time. Like, I was still figuring out my whole life. Like, and so as soon as he was printing his, I was like, this is probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And like before then, I wanted to be like a pilot, like a private pilot, like maybe work for the Air Force or like work. Like fly people privately around the United States, like, and then that just started to kind of like leave off my shoulder, you know. It just started to like disappear, and it was just like, oh well, now that doesn't sound fun anymore. And so now this is like, and this is when actually like I was like, oh my god, this is really cool. And then I decided to print mine, and I had a picture of I had a picture of like. Of when the sign that I showed y'all was printing, and it was just because I was using one of his routers before I bought one, and I was just like blown away, and I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. And so eventually I actually bought my very own CNC router, which is actually first off, it was a guy down in Richmond that I bought it from, and it was like $900, and usually CNC routers are like a couple grand. It's like they're super, super expensive, and like,
I think so, yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because remember, it's like a lot of you've got like you've got the router itself that you can buy probably at like Lowe's, but then you've got the whole little like bars and whatnot to like moving around. It's a lot, like it's a lot of computer programming and whatnot. I mean, it was a couple grand, but like the guy, I bought it off of Craigslist, and like the guy was saying, I mean, this guy looked really trustworthy when I went down. It was like in downtown Richmond. He was saying like, I've only used this twice. And it was from like 2019 when he bought it. So basically, I got one heck of a deal.
Nice deal,
like,
yeah,
because and Mr. Matheny, like him and I, like were looking at CNC routers because I knew I wanted to buy one, and I was saving my money at the time. And he found that on Craigslist, like you could buy it, you could potentially buy it. The only problem was I did not know where to put it because I live in a duplex. So it's like, and CNC routers are super, super loud. Like you're gonna have to like wear hearing protection, and well, I mean woodworking in general, it's super loud.
Yeah.
But like you're actually like, it's just so it's
It's ripping
loud.
through. It's ripping
Yes,
through wood.
yes, and also like
speeds.
eye protection is so important because when it's carving, let me just put this for example, as for this, like when it was getting through like the indents right here,
Yes.
like it was like the wood, it's just like it's coming,
Flying.
it's flying everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the word, yeah. It's flying like everywhere, and so like eye protection is so important. And so I remember just driving to Richmond and back in one day. I was just pretty exhausted. It's a long drive. If you think that's like 2 hours
Back and forth,
to there.
yeah. Yeah.
4 probably in total, I guess,
total,
if you think
yeah.
about it. Because if to and from Richmond or one-way trip is like 4 hours. So I got back, and then the next day, it was like a Monday, I think, or Tuesday, I actually brought the CNC router to my school because my teacher was okay with me just keeping it there for the time being. And he's saying, and then after that, he was just like, kind of fast forward, like, I would say like maybe a month or so later, he immediately knew that this was like something that I was really, really passionate about, and was like, all right, well, so since you really, really like CNC routers, like, since you like really like engraving all of this, I'm going to you're going to make stuff and I will put it in the grade book for you. You don't need to do any of the assignments I assign you. You can just print stuff so that you can get the skills to obtain.
Yeah,
and I was like, it's a really huge, it was a really big deal because, I mean, like if you didn't do your work, you're going to fail the class, right? So like, because that's how he did his grading system. And so like basically it was like extremely, extremely helpful when he did that. And just then kind of fast forward a little bit, or go a little bit back, probably December, November, I think, Mr. Matheny gives us an assignment called business website. And basically he was saying like, I want you to design a business website and that's where you're going to put all of your accomplished work.
Yes.
And part of it was it was easier for him to grade all of that stuff, as a matter of fact, because, I mean, Power School can be a lot. I mean, just grading assignments in general. If you're like the lead shop teacher, you're going to be grading a lot of stuff, right? It made sense, right? So I was working on the business website, and I was making a lot of stuff. I made like a sign called Native Plant Garden for like a student that was like in a science academy or whatnot. I think that's what it was called. And I used this big router. And basically like, I mean, and so like in general, I think like, I don't know how to put this, but
You started realizing that maybe there was an opportunity to actually like sell some of these things and make them for other people.
yeah, like, and also that's kind of where I got my name Precision Crafts, was because precision means, it's another word for accurate. I remember learning it in chemistry class my sophomore year in high school, and precision or precisional is like another word for accurate, and that's what every customer needs, is accuracy. And even with like the products that I sell, it must be accurate or else it will not sell.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and then crafts, I mean, I'm designing stuff, like it's a
Exactly,
craft. Yeah, like even like all these like the designs, I've made like a boot slide, which basically, like, with the help of Mr. Matheny, it's another fancy way of taking your shoes off. Like, you actually, like, you press on this piece of wood and you put your shoe through like a little, it kind of looks like a horseshoe.
Okay.
And you slide and it's like you take your shoe off in like the most like helpful way, where you don't even need to bend your back down. It was like, gee, and I'm like, I'm definitely going to
Wow,
sell
that's
that.
pretty neat.
That's
It is very
neat.
unique.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
And-
is
Yeah, because the older you get, the less you want to really bend and
I
put
know.
your shoes on.
Exactly. And I
Is
mean-
that something people can get from you now, even, or?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have the file on my computer, and I mean, I'm still working on a little bit of editing details, but yes, like, I'm still designing things. Like, I'm definitely, one thing, I'm gonna give you a little sneak peek. I'm designing something for like kids. It's basically, like when you have like one of those puzzle matching things where like it has like a car
Yeah.
or like has a plane or like has those shapes and whatnot. That's what I'm trying to design right now, and so it's like a mix and match type of thing that I'm still designing. I'm still figuring out a few coding things, but let's see. But
So so you do a combination, like, for when people want to work with you. So you do a combination of, I guess, of like projects and things that people may be able to use or move around
Yeah.
or use to take off their shoes. But then also like some artistic things. If people say, okay, I want something to hang outside my front door. I want a cool sign.
Yes, this,
for my
like,
house
outside your
number.
front door, exactly. And I can put like any paint on it, like wood paint on it, and it's gonna charge. It's gonna be a little extra, but like it's gonna look so much better. Like,
Absolutely, yeah.
even with wood. I mean, this is with wood coat. Okay, like this is very very clean. It's not like if I didn't have this wood coat on, it basically just would have been like a plain old piece of wood. It just
Okay.
it just would have not shined enough.
Well, what's nice is you already have the creativity. Obviously, you're creative,
Yeah.
right? So you have the creative mind, which means you can take somebody's idea. Somebody would come up to you and say, "This is more or less what I'm thinking about,"
Yeah.
and you have now the ability to say creatively, "This is how it should look," and then you can translate it into a piece of wood, which they could actually choose if they want, right? I
Yeah.
suspect, or you can say,
Here's
"Listen,
the
this is the
options."
best. This
Yes.
is the options. This is the best kind of wood to use," and then go there and just
Yeah.
do your magic with programming, and then let the C router do its magic.
Yeah. So, and I mean, people, like, definitely part of this business is that people can DM me. Like, my DMs are open on my business page. They can DM me and like, hey, like, I want a sign that says this and that. And I'm like, all right, well.
I'm sorry to interrupt. What does DM mean? Because I'm an old guy. What does DM mean?
DM, sorry, it means like you
Direct
like
message.
your personal.
Oh, direct message.
yes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
direct message.
Okay.
You basically you send someone like a direct message
Okay,
to
okay.
like kind of like.
I'm an antique, so you
No,
gotta-
you're
you gotta-
you're totally fine. You're not the only one. I understand that.
It's an easy way, yeah.
No, direct message. Once you said direct message,
Direct message, yeah.
okay,
DM
all right.
means direct message. Yes.
For whatever, so they direct message you with whatever they're interested in, and then you can try to work with them to say, okay, what are
Yeah.
you looking for?
Yes, and I can work with them personally, like, and just say like, all right, we can do this and that. Like, I can take pictures of like what I have on Carbide Create, and then because it shows a simulation of like of like what it will actually look like before, like after you print it, and it's very very useful.
Very nice.
After and. I mean,
Almost
depending-
like a proof of concept
Yes.
that you send
Yeah,
to someone.
it's kind of like
okay.
a simulation, yes. Like,
Yeah.
and it's very very helpful to give me an idea of what it will look like after, because sometimes I have messed up, and like I have messed up to the point where like the router is just like moving weirdly, and I'm like, this isn't right, and it's like and then basically like I misaligned something, or it's like it can be very very complicated, but it's.
But the finished work is fantastic.
The finished work is always probably one of the most satisfying parts. I mean, even watching it in general, just like printing is probably it's just so satisfying. And that's what I love about this. And I just want to mention, like, to the people out there that don't know what they want to do or not sure what they want to do, you please don't stress about it, because you literally have all the time in the world to figure out what you really want to do and what your passion is. Like, don't let people force you into like the traditional ways or like whatnot. You need to do what's best for your heart. Like, you need to, like, I mean, look, college is very beneficial. I have been considering it for a very, very long time, even BVCC or UVA down the road, like stuff like that. I'm just not going right now because I need to take time to, like, you know, I've been in high school for God knows how long. Like, I mean, even like COVID-19 was really an effective year. And like, you know, junior and senior year were probably my best years because like that's where I was starting to find my passion. But like, you don't need to stress over your life. You literally have your whole life to figure out what you want to do. So I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it like that.
That's great. And I mean, listen, you just graduated. You got the summer, right, to really develop and continue to explore your options here and
you got great little business while doing it.
Yeah, like you need to, like, don't let anybody push you around. You need to listen to your gut and just figure out what's best for you. Like, college or not, sure. Like, I mean, I've talked to my parents about college for God knows how long, like the past couple of years, and I'm finally kind of figuring out what I want to do. And it's like, oh, like, I never knew that, like, you know, I had to listen to my gut and whatnot. They've been telling me this whole time. It's just like, oh.
Absolutely. Well, this has been absolutely fantastic, Seth. Before we let you go, a couple people still watching. Some shout-outs: Isa Jason, Miel Uput, Siva Patel. Thanks for watching. Vanessa Parko, thanks for tuning in this morning. Always appreciate our great viewers. Monica Miller from Montana tuning in. Elizabeth Irby tuning in. So definitely appreciate everyone tuning in this morning. Where can people like find out more, see your website, see what you do, and reach out to you? And where can they go to DM you?
All right, so unfortunately, I'm still developing my business website. It will be released in probably the next month or so, but there's just a lot of like adding in images and just all this sort of crap. It's just like, it's just a little bit of a pain in the butt.
Behind the scenes
but yeah, it's a little bit. It is behind the scenes. Right now, you can follow me on Instagram at Precision Craft CNC. I believe. I think you guys must have gotten it. And that's where I've got a few posts up and actually describing what is CNC routing, because I know a lot of people do not know what that is. Just gonna say it. It's computer numerical control. Just one last time, but. Yeah, you can follow me on my Instagram at Precision Craft CNC, and that's actually where I made my business ad as well. That's talking about what I'll sell and some of the things that I've made with American Pride and Accomplishment.
Can people DM you through Instagram?
So yeah, a couple people, probably two at least, have DM'd me about a few things. Like, I know someone that I used to like that was in like my old neighborhood DM'd me about having like a little front porch sign. Beautiful. Saying like the roses or something, and I was like, yeah, I can absolutely do that. And then like there was like another person that was like requesting like a house number or something like that. Like nice. It's like, oh wow, so
that's a good way to get.
So
in
it's
touch
kind
with
of
you, right?
it's kind of, remember
through,
like
Instagram. Yeah.
So remember, like, businesses do take a while. Like they they start off slow. Like you gotta get people. You gotta get profit. It's a lot of work and effort. Like there's like I'm still developing this business. Like I still have to do like a bunch of. I mean, it's required by law, like register it with the state and like, you know, taxes and just all this. Yeah, like I'm still working on that. But it's probably almost there. Like it's almost ready to be like an actual thing that I'm passionate about.
That's wonderful.
Well, we are excited for you.
Yeah.
Be sure to check out. Yeah, congratulations. Be sure to check out Precision Craft CNC on Instagram. Seth, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, guys.
I
appreciate it.
Pleasure.
And as we go ahead and do our swaparoo here, we'll rotate from one great guest to another. Always love featuring
CNC. I gotta remember that.
Precision Craft CNC on Instagram, and that's where you can. I'm sure people who know.
It's amazing
Instagram
what
know
things
how to
can
DM.
happen today, right? I mean, if you have the wherewithal of computer science and you know, you're also somewhat savvy and technical and creative, it's amazing what you can do.
What you can do, exactly.
That's great work. Great work. Nice
definitely
to see that.
appreciate
Young
it.
entrepreneurs, nothing like it.
Yep, absolutely. We love it. And then I also got some more people tuning in. Ricardo Cruz Arias, muchísimas gracias for watching the show this morning. Always love the great fans that we have tuning in. And from one great guest to two more, one of whom is Emilio del Programa that we're really glad to have back. We are excited to welcome to the show this morning Ricardo Cruz Duran and Maiden Fincham from Total Mortgage. Ricardo, Maiden, thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having us.
To be here again.
No, we're glad to have you guys back. I mean,
I just have to say one thing, though. Ricardo could have sent us a memo that's saying that Thursday is
Hawaiian
shirt day.
Shirt day at Total
and I would have worn my Hawaiian shirt. Or
Don't feel
something.
bad. I didn't bring mine either. But we do this company-wide every
The only one, I
Thursday.
guess, Jerry got the memo.
I think
He's looking
that's
good.
absolutely
Jerry's
it.
looking like in studio, looking like the season, so he got the memo this morning. So, Ricardo, I mean, it's been a little bit since you've come on, and Maiden, this is your first
It
time.
is my first time, yeah.
Maybe for the viewers that haven't seen you guys yet, tell us a little bit about yourselves and how each of you came to join Total Mortgage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let Megan go first.
I was going to
Ladies
say,
first.
I'll let Ricardo go first. So Ricardo and I used to work at a local credit union here in Charlottesville, and that's both where we got our start in mortgages, 5-6 years ago?
Yeah.
And, and we just became fast friends, and we both fell in love with the business, and we both started, families around the same time. We got little kids, and thank you. And my family moved, we're in Chesterfield now, so... But I just, I really love the real estate business. It's my family's passion. My husband and my father-in-law are both real estate appraisers. Woody's on the show frequently, so and
Oh yes, he's often on Real Talk with Pete Smith.
yes, he is. Yeah.
Oh, they didn't realize that.
That's my father-in-law.
Okay, that's
yeah, so he's on
Great
pretty
guy,
frequently. Yeah. Love him. I have to because we're related. But no, he's wonderful. When Ricardo started with Total, he reached out to me and was like, I have this awesome business opportunity with this wonderful company, and I really think that we can help people. And, that always perks my ears up. And I had, taken some time away with my boys, and I thought that I was ready to come back. And that's how I ended up at Total, and we've both been really happy there.
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And same, as Megan said, I started my mortgage career with a local credit union here in town. And so I came about Total Mortgage through a real estate agent that uses Total Mortgage and told me about the opportunity. And that's how, I reached out, and they were super happy that I reached out. And they had a great opportunity to continue helping families locally. But not only that, but with the large gamma of products, because they have national products and a lot of different products that I didn't have before that could use a lot of families, especially in today's hard market that we're in. Yes. Yeah.
Well, you kind of have to be creative and think about what are ways to help families.
Yes.
In where there's just so many headwinds that may be coming their way when it comes to actually getting a mortgage, buying a house.
Absolutely. Yep.
Absolutely. And so, one of the things I want to ask you both is obviously now you were two experienced people. We're here with two experienced in the mortgage space, and what particularly I would imagine in this time it's not as straightforward as maybe it would have been, back 3 years ago. 3 years ago, where it's like, I want to refinance
Everybody.
mortgage, right? What are common questions that people will often come up to you both with now, given this environment? What are a lot of things you're hearing from just people that are reaching out to you both?
Well, for me, the biggest question that they're asking is it the right time to buy?
Yes. Yeah.
That's like everybody that's coming in and they're applying they're asking, hey, tell me how much I qualify for, what would my rate be, and what my monthly payment would be. And then tell me whether I'm doing this thing right. Is this the right time to purchase, or is it not the right time, and should I wait? A lot of people are hesitant right now because the market is tough. I work in the mortgage business, and I hate the rates.
We all hate the rates. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, oftentimes people apply, and I tell them, hey, homes have been appreciating for a long time now, and it's been a very steady appreciation. And the sooner you get into homeownership, the sooner you can build equity, the sooner you can build wealth. Even if it costs you a little bit more in the beginning, but later you could, refinance. Later you could do a lot of different things to keep you, so that you can continue to afford that house. So that's usually my response, and then obviously partnering with a local professional that has a lot of different ways to make today's current environment work. So that's my response to them.
To that one.
Yeah.
One thing that I'll add, if you don't mind, from your presentation that you all gave us, I thought one of the best takeaways from that is that if you try to time the market, any market, the investment market, the real estate market, you're going to fail, and the only thing that you're missing out on is just not being in the market. If there were people, back in the 80s when rates were very high as well, they're just waiting for rates to come down. Well, it went on like that for a decade. Yep. And if you are waiting potentially for rates to come back down, we have no control, and we have no way of knowing when and if they will come back down. We all assume that they're going to eventually, but we don't know when. And you could miss out on a ton of equity and financial security for your family if you don't make that jump. And I know that Total, one of the things that they're doing that I think is great is offering some renovation loan products, because maybe a solution for people right now is to get into a home that they otherwise wouldn't have. And, something that is a little bit beat up, that needs a lot of work, just so you can secure that financial asset for your family, make it what you want it to be, and get in now, and then potentially refinance and let it grow, let it appreciate. So, yeah.
What I was going to say is, what you mentioned before was right, both of you. First of all, trying to figure out, is this the right time? The only person that can answer that question is yourself. And can I afford this house? And if the answer is you can afford it, then the answer is it's the right time, right? Yeah. And second of all, for whatever reason, the 2 years where interest rates were at 3%, 2.75%, that was an extreme anomaly. You go back in history, that just didn't exist. When my parents bought their home back in the 60s, the rates were 5.5%, 6%, 6.25%, right? Those were, when I bought my first home, it was 15.75%. I'm saying, oh my Lord, how lucky my parents were that it was 6.25%. Now, like you look at 6.75% and 7%, people say, oh my God, it's so high. It was like 3%. But the answer is, this is just an opinion, right? My answer is that I think that going forward, we're not going to see 2.75% and 3%. Yeah. We're going to see somewhere between 5.5% and 7.5% is what mortgage rates are going to be. So the idea is like, maybe I should wait till next year because the Fed's going to lower rates. Maybe it's a losing battle. Yeah. Like you said, from here to next year, if that home went from $600,000 to $700,000. You just lost out $100,000 worth of equity, right?
Yeah, and I think the issue is a lot of people now, because I think we were spoiled by those couple of years, they see, like, they're worried that a 6 or 7% mortgage rate might not be a good investment. But if you think about it, like you've made this point, David made this point, what else can you get a bank to invest in your future, right, at a rate looking like that? If you go to a bank for a personal loan, it's not going to be...
My husband says that all the time. That is his...
10, 11, right? If you go to a bank for a business loan, it's going to be 9, 10, 11. So it's just funny. And if you think about that compared to rent, right? Rent, at the beginning of when you're new homeowner, the percent of your monthly payment that is equity is small. Sure. It grows over time. But no matter what it is, it's infinitely more than the percent of equity you're building when you're paying rent. So when you're paying rent, you're building 0% equity. So 0 to anything is basically an infinite jump. So there are good reasons, and this can be still a good investment for people, even if they're worried about the timing and so forth. It's really, like you said, it's the time in the market that has a lot of this.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to add, because we'll do a little, I figured maybe we could do a little bilingual because we've got a great guest here that can do that, because quizás a veces, la comunidad hispana tiene preguntas diferentes
Sí.
Pero ¿cuáles son las preguntas frecuentes que reciben ustedes sobre
Me gusta que empezó a reír enseguida.
Sí, claro que sí. Yo tengo una idea. Pero ¿cuáles son unas preguntas frecuentes de la comunidad hispana que reciben ustedes sobre el proceso de obtener una hipoteca o los tipos de hipotecas que son accesibles para la comunidad?
Well, mainly en español, ¿no?
Sí, podemos
en
hacerlo en
español, bilingüe.
There you go.
Well, la pregunta más común, the most common question that I get in Spanish is oftentimes they ask how do I trust you, like, you know, cómo yo puedo confiar en usted que usted me va a ayudar bien, porque en el pasado han tenido otras personas que no les explicaron tal vez y no les ayudaron de la mejor forma. Entonces, in the past, probably they've had different people that have helped them, but not to the best way possible, or didn't explain a few things. And so that's a common question that I get. I don't get it a lot, but it's oftentimes coming up, you know. And then obviously they also have the same question is, how much money do I need? What's my monthly payment going to be? But what I'm getting from Hispanic clients is they're not worried too much on the rate. I'm getting more of, okay, this is gonna be my monthly payment. This is how much I'm gonna need. Okay, how do we make it work? Okay, that's the mentality of the Hispanic client. And it goes to say with the current housing trends on the Hispanic homeownership. I mean, they've just been growing recently. I mean, for over 8 years now, it's the only racial demographic to have been growing consistently
In homeownership.
in homeownership. And right now, it's 49.5% of all home sales or home purchases in the United States. 49.5. So that makes you think.
Wow,
That
that's amazing.
makes
Isn't
you
that great?
makes you think whether or not our current housing has the right solutions for these people.
Yeah.
If you think about it, almost half of the entire housing is Hispanic. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we need to find solutions because this is a big number. This is not a small number. We need to find a way to find the solutions to meet these clients, the Hispanic clients. So that's what I'm getting right now from Hispanics is, okay, tell me how much I qualify for, tell me how much I need, what's my monthly payment. Okay, do I need to add another family to this deal? Do I need to bring in my cousin? Do I need to bring in my aunt? Okay, we'll make it work somehow, but we gotta make it work. And that's when a loan officer comes in that can explain everything to them.
How it works.
And how it works, yeah. So that's what I'm seeing.
That's amazing. And it's funny, it harkens back because I think I was reading an article that back in 1940s, 1950s, when almost like most homeowners either got assistance from their parents or actually bought their parents' house. And the deal was you move into my house, this house will become yours, but grandma's living with you till she goes. In other words, you're not sending her to a nursing home, but this is her house, but it'll become yours. But I think the beauty is the Hispanic community, already has that kind of,
That's what I was
let's
saying.
work together as a family to make this happen. What do we
Absolutely.
need to do? And they just need a loan officer that's willing to work with them on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then I think the other thing is, let's face it, especially if you're a Hispanic, if you've come from Latin America recently, these interest rates are not new here. You're like, oh man, I mean, if you're coming from Argentina, you're like, oh, this is great. I mean, I was coming from some crazy 14%.
Yeah.
Something, depending where you're coming from, it's not a phase. It's not phasing you because they're not coming with that background of, oh man, 3 years ago I could have got 2 3/4. They're coming from, well, if this was back home, it would be much more expensive. So I'm not worried about the interest rate. I'm worried about what can I actually afford
Exactly.
as a monthly payment.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, part you have to take your hat off, right? It's to think that, that large percentage. Here we are in a market that is so difficult, right? Where the homes, how do you say it? The supply is limited, right?
Correct.
And you still have so many people looking to purchase homes. And the Hispanic community is finding ways to do that, right? And I think it's part of their culture, which is what you mentioned. In other words, it's a family culture. In other words, I want my family we want to live together, we want to grow here in this country, right? And it's like they just get together. How do we make this work? And that's the key. How do we make this work? In other words, that's the system. These are the rates. These are the prices. I'm not going to go back and complain and moan all day long about how it's not fair. It's like, how do I make it work? And I think that's the most beautiful thing. It's like, having people like Ricardo and Megan to be able to explain the process, right? To be able to say, here's how it works, right? And then put the numbers and say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're $10 short, but we'll find a way. We can find a way.
Exactly. A couple people tuning in. Johnny Cade watching the show. Peter McFerrin says, "Great to join this wonderful show." Flores Ronald says, "Ricardo, and he's different like that." Yes. So, do you guys have particular? What kind of advice do you often work with people, particular Latinos, or it can be others that maybe they're looking. This is their first time. They've never gone through the process of getting a mortgage before. What do you kind of guide them through and work with them as to what advice do you give to them?
Well, there's so many things because each family is different, right?
Yeah.
Each family has a different situation. Some may qualify immediately, others may not. It really depends on each situation, and that's, once we meet in the table, I always ask him, what's your biggest worry about buying a house? Is it that you need a lower total cash to close, or is it that you need a lower monthly payment? Mm-hmm. Tell me what you need, and let me see what I can do, because I want to understand where they are and how a loan program will fit with them. Mm-hmm. And then I'll give them all the options, and it's up to them if they choose one versus the other. So pretty much that's what we do. That's what I do there. And in the end, I don't tell them to give up, because when they meet, I'm always telling them, continue to work hard. Now that you sat with me, now you know how to make it work. Okay? So if it didn't work now, let's create a plan. A month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it takes, but we'll get you a house, and that's the plan that Hispanics are following. And I have a lot of clients waiting because they didn't qualify at the moment, but we have a plan set for them so that they qualify.
And I think that's the difference between, like not to toot our own horn, but between us and maybe another mortgage lender is like, we're not just in the business of closing loans. Everybody here wants to close a loan. Everybody here wants to get paid. Everybody wants to get you in a house. But we are committed to relationship building. Ricardo has worked with people, and I have worked with people who they don't qualify initially, but I know where your heart's at. I know what your goal is for your family, and we will spend however long is necessary helping you get to that point. It might be a year from now, working on your credit, getting you into maybe a better job, whatever it is. We're there to, help and advise you and to get you into that spot. We're not just going to be like, well, you waste my time, you don't qualify. We want you to buy a house and to have that financial security for your family. And I think nobody does that better than Ricardo, especially. So,
and I can speak to that personally. I had worked with Ricardo, and back even when you were at your previous position, when you had less options than you do now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It just what I loved is that anyone who's an entrepreneur knows that when you're an entrepreneur and you don't get a mortgage, it's not as simple as like,
so
here's
hard.
my W-2, and it's like, here you go. And Ricardo, you were the best as you were. I remember sitting there with you, and I'm like, okay, well, change it to this. What if it's that? And you must have run me like 5 different options, for my finance mind to take home, knowing that, okay, it wasn't going to happen that day.
Yeah.
But let's take it home.
That's right.
Let's go forward. Because, I wasn't even in the process of immediately buying a house. I had just been married, was really early in the process. And that's okay. I'm going to work with you. Here's all the different things. Yeah. And you just helped me to know, well, okay, here's what I need to get my ducks in a row to make this happen. And I appreciated it so much, my wife and I, because that was like another level of just really being there for people and relationship building. And I could tell that some people watching feel the same way, because we talk to the Cruz audience, says recommends Total Mortgage, you guys 100%.
Oh, good. 100%. Gracias.
Marta Duran de Cruz tiene una pregunta de la audiencia, y su pregunta es, ¿puede una persona que no tenga social aplicar para un crédito para comprar su casa?
Ah, excelente pregunta, muchas gracias.
I just wanna
That's
say
my
I
mother,
understood
by the
that.
way.
Oh,
She's getting me now.
I was proud of myself.
Well, yes. In fact, I'm very passionate about this,
Yes.
and and that's why I brought this up about the 49.5%, is because we now, if you think about it, lenders that are trying to survive or trying to make loans now, they really need to start thinking about how we can help this community, because a lot of Hispanics, they don't have social, okay? They have tax ID numbers.
The ITIN, right?
They have
Yes,
the ITIN,
yeah,
yeah.
ITIN.
Which I don't know if a lot of people know, but it's an ITIN is just a tax ID number that the IRS issues. It's also 9 digits, similar to a social security number that you can use to report your income taxes. Okay, so and you can also build credit on this ITIN, which is nice. Now, but not all lenders have that solution to help these families, and. Total Mortgage has a ton of solutions.
Yeah.
I can't even
Awesome.
count them or remember how many, because there's just so many for ITIN. And so to answer that question for my mother, yes, we do have.
Claro que sí.
Claro que sí. Tenemos los préstamos con Tax ID, aunque para ser honestos, no todos los préstamos Tax ID son competitivos, ¿verdad? Hoy en día, con el mercado que estamos, es un poco difícil tener tanto dinero necesario para poder invertir en una casa con Tax ID. So I'll say that in English. In today's market conditions that we're in, it's really tough for a Tax ID person to be able to afford the total cash to close. So that's where lenders need to see this percentage, because the next time a real estate agent gets an offer, it's most likely going to be a Hispanic client.
Right.
And do they have the right staff to support that? Do they have the right staff to help these clients? I mean, that's the kind of questions that I'm thinking here in my mind for Total Mortgage here with locally. So it's.
Yeah.
I got me, but I also need more LOs that speak Spanish to continue to help the community, because we want to help them. So yeah, it's a long-winded.
Helping them helps the lender ultimately. Just let's face it, no one wants, right, a lender, whether they keep the mortgage or whether they sell it, the eventual owner of the mortgage, right, does not want a mortgage that will go bad.
Sure,
Right? So
yeah.
the more you can do to help them, right, the more that you've made that mortgage a reliable either income stream for the lender if they keep it, or an income stream for whoever gets that mortgage in the end, whoever receives in the financial markets the interest from that mortgage. So you want good mortgages. Like you want, okay, what do we do to make this work so that it is a good mortgage, both for the homeowner, the Spanish homeowner, and for the ultimate owner of that mortgage, whether it's bundled or not.
So two things. One is, I mean, if you look at historical default rates on mortgages, the Hispanics have one of the better, some of the lowest default rates ever. And again, because it goes back to family, I mean, this is their home. They're going to do anything possible. The second was really kind of a question, Ricardo. In other words, or Megan, if somebody takes out a loan using the ITIN only number, can they eventually also refinance if rates come down? And is that still possible for them?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Same as somebody with a social.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nothing.
Yeah.
So there's no penalty for having ITIN in that sense.
Absolutely not. Well, there is lenders that will offer you the ITIN loan, and you need to be careful with who you get it with, and make sure you ask questions like the one you posed, which is, do I have to pay a fee to refinance, or do I have to? Is there prepayment penalties?
Right.
Is this a balloon payment? I mean, all those things you need to ask to make sure that you get into the right loan that is going to help you.
Yeah, trust is so key, because we've
Right.
had some people that have doubled, as their financial advisor, they've double checked with us, and I mean, even recently we've had a couple of people that say, yeah, my lender's offering me like 8% ARM. Right, and I'm like, well, wait.
Hold on.
But this is the deal for me. And it's like, no. Let's
talk about this.
Let's talk about this, because I'm pretty sure that doesn't sound right. That's not a deal, right? So in other words, the trust of someone, because there's probably going to be, it's a big market, right? And you don't want to you don't want to bash the financial markets. I know, and they did enough bashing in the news, financial industries,
Yeah.
for me to add to that. But it is a big decision. And so you want to make sure that you trust the person you're dealing with, because occasionally there are, just like any other business, there's occasionally going to be unscrupulous people, right? Or people that don't have a lot of options or products, and they're going to try to shoehorn you into one of theirs, even if it doesn't fit you.
Right.
So it's the beauty is, I mean, here you have the two of you, you're trusted, you're trustworthy, and you have actually a lot of options.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the reasons why we landed at Total. You know, Ricardo is so passionate about this. He's been passionate about it ever since I met him, helping this, group of people with I-10, helping his community get into home ownership. And we wanted to, form a company and a branch here that could serve that community. Not just, okay, you do qualify for this. Like you said, you don't want to get stuck into something that just because you could qualify for it isn't the best thing for your family. So having the options and not being limited just because you don't have a social security number, I think is really important. So,
I agree.
yeah.
Absolutely.
No, it's true.
Go ahead.
Just one last question. So, given the fact that in the past, typically short-term rates are lower than the longer-term rates, and they used to have the ARM mortgages, the teaser rates, and things like that. Does that still exist, considering where the market is, or are in today's world are most people saying, "Give me the 30-year fixed because that's probably the best thing to do"?
I think it still exists. It just, like Ricardo said, it exists because every buyer's different. You don't know necessarily why somebody might go into an ARM or fixed. Maybe they have taken a job that's temporary in a different state or something. A lot of times those people want some sort of, maybe an interest-only payment or something like that. They're not planning on being there a long time. Sometimes something like an ARM or something short-term makes sense because of your life circumstances. But, in a traditional sense, people wanted it because it had much more attractive, rates than the long-term. But right now, they're pretty much the same, so. But it could still make sense for somebody because of their, where they're at in life. So.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's fantastic. So for people who are interested in reaching out to you guys, is there a specific area that you only cover, or could it be how vast is the area that you guys can work with you?
we're all over the place now.
Yeah, we pretty much.
We're going.
Yeah, we pretty much can do. We pretty much. Right now I should say we're licensed. The branch is licensed in Virginia. Our branch here in Harrisonburg. That's where our branch is. But
Physical location.
Physical location.
Yeah.
We're licensed in Virginia, in Connecticut, in Massachusetts, I believe is the other one, and Florida for now.
Oh, okay, so anywhere.
We're 4 states,
If you
and
want
we're
to get a
working.
vacation home in Florida, we can help you.
I was
That's
gonna
right.
say, all the Cubans watching.
Yeah, and so I'll get you a café con leche. Yeah, just reach out. We're happy to help, and so we're working to continue to add states.
Trying to get most of the East Coast. It just takes time to get your branch licensed there. Your branch has to get licensed first, then we have to get licensed there, but
Pretty much anywhere in Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, we have
Pretty
the
much.
physical location in Harrisonburg. If you want to go see Ricardo's pretty face, go to Harrisonburg. But he also, can drive all around, Charlottesville and meet you wherever. We have another loan officer there, AJ, as well. And then I'm based out of Chesterfield, Richmond area. So, I work remotely most of the time, but I also, we're licensed and we're also competent in these areas. I have lived all over the state of Virginia, so, and Ricardo has as well. So, but we can cover anything in the entire state. So.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic. Lieutenant Morales watching the show this morning from Sombreros, right here in the downtown Medellin Torpeño. Thanks for watching.
Oh, my wife. That's my wife.
That's your I'm pretty sure that's your beautiful wife. Miriam Duran watching. Leo Gaitan says Ricardo's the best. Peter McFerrin says great interview. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Last question as usual for you guys. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Well, for me specifically, you can reach out directly at 434-365-8978. You can also look us up on social media, so Facebook, Ricardo Cruz Duran. I'm sure you'll find it. If not, just put what's my new title here? I always forget. Just search Ricardo, or just reach out or text me at that number.
I'm pretty sure if you type Ricardo in Facebook,
Mortgage,
it pops up.
Yeah, it's coming up as Ricardo Cruz Duran, Senior Mortgage Loan Originator and Branch Manager.
Nice. There you go. That's what
I had to read it
slide
off
that
because it's too long.
To be honest, that's why I kind of just put the two of you in there. I said, by the time I finish reading these titles,
It's going to be too long.
Yeah.
So we have a branch, website address, and if you go to Total Mortgage and you look up in Virginia, you can find our branch page
Okay.
there.
Awesome.
We both have Facebook pages. Mine is just, Megan Fincham Total Mortgage on Facebook. If you search that, my page should come up. And then you can also reach me at my cell phone number, which is 540-848-5197. So we are there. Yeah.
Very,
Lots
very
of-
impressive.
lots
You
of-
also
lots of
both-
ways to get in touch.
Lots of ways to get in touch. Very impressive that you both remember the phone numbers.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
hard now to remember your own phone number. Very impressive. Leo.com says, great job, guys.
Oh yeah, Leo.
Thank you guys so
that's
much
Actually,
for
a lot
having
of
us.
viewers are already watching on Maiden on your Facebook page.
Oh, nice. Thank you,
So they
guys.
are already connected.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
if
Give
you're
me a
watching on that
follow.
page, you can click anything there.
Yeah. My email and
Absolutely.
everything should be there as well. So.
Yep, absolutely. So thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Always,
Thank you.
always
It's been
a joy and
wonderful.
pleasure to hang out with you both.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Congratulations and the best of luck. I mean,
Thank
you
you.
guys are going to do great. I just know it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did great work. Well, this has been a fantastic show.
Yeah, it certainly has,
Really
yeah.
enjoyed it. Next week, we got some more great guests coming on. We're going to be joined by Danny and Kathleen Belcher from Seville Opera.
Okay.
We talked about The Music Man.
Okay,
Coming
all
up.
right.
Their,
That's right. They're coming
their
up.
musical that is coming up soon.
Very
I
soon,
think,
yeah.
right
I mean,
here.
in a week or so, right?
Yeah, in the month of June, you can go see The Music Man. So be sure to check us out next week. We're going to be talking with them. I don't know if it'll be Nick or you or me. We'll find out.
We'll
You'll
find
find out what hosts are on next week. Because with Seville Opera, we love Charlottesville Opera so much that I think we all kind of fight to see who gets to host that show. But always appreciate all our great guests. Everyone that supports the show, appreciate being here on the I Love Seville Network. Judah Whitcower behind the camera, making us all look good. Our great partners, Matthias Sion Realty, Charlottesville Opera, Credit Serious Insurance, our fantastic presenter, Emergent Financial Services. Appreciate being on with you.
Thank you,
Again,
same
always
here.
Always enjoy. Appreciate all of you who tuned in. Really thank you. Did want to give an extra shout out. We had a couple other, Brenda Cruz Duran is sending congrats and things. I want to say, Vanessa Parco, you had some great comments. We will definitely pass them on to Seth. I missed them right when we were doing the transition, but she had some encouragement for those like Seth who are interested in technology careers. It's the Penn College of Technology,
Okay.
a Penn State affiliate. So she has some great thoughts there. So really appreciate that. Sorry that I missed that right as I was switching from one desk to another. But I really appreciate everyone who tuned in today, all your great questions and comments. We look forward to seeing you next week. But until that time, as we like to close it out on the show, hasta mañana.